Monday, May 11th, 2026. This show is about interesting and important events that happened today throughout the annals of recorded history. You know, we have some internet problems, so if we suddenly go offline, no worries. We will do the entire show and then upload it when we can, so hang tight if anything goes dark. Byzantium was dedicated to Emperor Constantine the Great, becoming the capital of the Eastern Roman Empire. Now, according to the other source of the Eastern Roman Empire, check this out. This is a magnificent picture right there. It's telling me to image search this, so it's taking its time to load and everything. So I'm gonna image search this because such a weird image to put in there. I'm gonna image search this because such a weird image to put in there. Like it's a strange dimension and it's really busy, but but that's awesome. Like look at this scroll. There it is right there, the Diamond Sutra. Moving on up, what else we got here? 912. Now, this is no longer on either source, so this might be erroneous, but it says here Alexander became emperor of the Byzantine Empire. I don't remember doing that, but cool. 973. Edgar, an Anglo-Saxon king of England, and his consort Alfred were crowned at Bath on Whit Sunday. Possibly a second crowning, is already ruled for 14 years. So, according to the other source here, it says, in the first coronation ceremony ever held for an English monarch, Edgar the Peaceful was crowned King of England, having ruled since 959 AD. His wife, Alfred, was crowned Queen, the first recorded coronation of a queen in England, or for a queen in England. So, then we have 975. Elfrida, consort of King Edgar, was crowned Queen of England at Bath Abbey, first coronation of a Saxon queen. So, announcing claims of feudal overlordship in one another's territories, and separating the House of Barcelona from the politics of France. 1310, 54 members of the Knights Templar were burned at the stake in France for being heretics. And they were not really heretics. The thing was, the church owed the Knights Templar so much money from all the Crusades that rather than actually paying them, they just called them heretics or whatever, and then they killed them all. So that's how they repaid their debt. So, yeah, never trust the church. What else do we got here? 1421, Jews were expelled from... Jews were expelled from Styria, Austria. Here we go again. Why does this keep happening to the Jews? Every single day, there's at least one or two articles about Jews being expelled, Jews being killed, something happening to Jews. You know, literally every single day there's something. And, I don't think that every single time people just woke up one morning and just out of nowhere started to hate the Jews. Something's going on that we don't know, that we're not allowed to be talking about for whatever reason. Now, this other article here is no longer on either source as well, so it might also be erroneous. Actually, no, we covered this yesterday, so that's probably why. 1502, Christopher Columbus left on his fourth and last voyage. So, as I said, we did cover that yesterday. 1560, the Ottoman naval forces inflicted a defeat on a Spanish fleet in the Battle of Djerba. This marked the high point of Ottoman naval dominance in the Mediterranean, which started declining 5 years later after the failed siege of Malta. 1611, earlier known performance of Shakespeare's comedy The Winter's Tale at the Globe Theatre, London, recorded by Simon Forman. Is this earlier or earliest? We've caught a lot of spelling errors from our primary source, grammatical fallacies, inaccuracies, things like that. So I just wonder, did they mean earlier or did they mean earliest? 1625, peasants besiege Frankenberg estate in Upper Austria. Go peasants! 1678, French Admiral Jean d'Estrées' naval fleet ran aground on Avis Islands, Curacao, ending French control and ushering in an age of piracy in the Caribbean. So this is when it started, in 1678. Interesting. So yeah, it says other source, well, actually, no. This is, So these are two different articles. 200 people. Come on, load. Oh, here we go. Navy Act of 1748, so let's scroll up here, 1747. An act in 1792. Columbia River was discovered and named by U.S. Captain Robert Gray. Robert Gray commanded the first expedition at the Muséum National d'Histoire Naturelle in Paris-France. The Museum of Natural History in Paris, France, I guess. And ironically, descendants of both last. Welcome to the show.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah, you heard it disgusting and Elvis. Yeah. So, but yeah, The waltz is an elegant, nearly universal dance, perfect for wedding or almost any social occasion. It was introduced in England in 1874, but this says 1812.
Yeah.
So that's a lot longer than 1874. But it was used. It was in 1922 that it became as fashionable. It is also room. It is a smooth, progressive dance that travels around Sydney. The route opened up inland Australia for continued expansion throughout the 19th century. So other source says William Lawson, Gregory Blackson, and Waltz. You are correct. The continent of Australia is pretty damn big. But yeah, I wanted to do an image search to just show, like, you know, I think this is the map of the died on their expedition.
Oh, wow.
You know? 4 years later, we have the launch of the HMS Beagle, the ship that would later take a young Charles Darwin on his famous scientific voyage. That would lead to, you know, evolution and all that jazz.
Did you stop at the Galactica? Were really different there.
Well, no, it wasn't that they weren't involved. It's that they were specialized. Like
because it was isolated.
It all. Well, no. Developed to dig in the ground. Yeah, you know, almost as if they were made for each other. But then, like, for the Civil War, I wanted to bring up this point that before actual violence, there was war lasting since basically the beginning of the founding of the United States. The South makes a territory, the North makes a territory. The South makes a state, the North makes a state. You know, so that way they can get a one. Whenever it's an assassination attempt, the assassin or the killer, whatever, it's like 9 times out of 10, they're either an anarch or the Democratic Party of the United States of America is a terrorist organization because they made the Ku Klux Klan to harass and it's the same. You know, the feminists, the feminazis, you know, Antifa and everything, Antifa and everything. Like, you know, it's like history keeps screaming in our face. We got to stop, you know, giving these people, you know, any credence.
Well, so, let's just say it this way: the bullets are going one way. Now,
absolutely they are.
Ask now.
Yeah.
When you say why,
absolutely they are.
Ask now.
Yeah.
When you say why, this is only conjecture, oriented with the religions or whatever, and involved in politics. The left,
they have no morals.
Politics is their religion.
Yep, and politics have no morals.
So. And there you go.
Yep. 1887 people were killed in the Musel Slough tragedy at gun battle in California. Never heard of that. So I'm just gonna do a surface level scratching. Internet is very slow. Like I noticed, like, you know, it's still working, but it's slower than normal. I've had to abandon looking up several.
I noticed that when I was getting on to see if we were on, it was taking forever to load up. I noticed that when I was getting on to see if we were on, it was taking forever to load up.
Yeah, for whatever reason, it's giving me. Why is this telling? That's weird.
Connecting the Continental Railroad.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with, like,
no.
So that's weird. That's a weird combination. 1889, an attack upon a U.S. Army paymaster and escort resulted in the theft of over $28,000 and the award of 2 Medals of Honor. Wow, that must have been an intense attack.
Yeah.
1890. Yeah, you know, be very careful going to other places of the world. People hate each other. 1893, Henry Desgrange established the world's first bicycle world record, traveling 35.325 kilometers or 21.95 miles an hour. So, like, you know, he's really zooming. It's telling me image search this as well. I'm going to do that, but it might just be 40 at the age of 75.
That Tour de France is brutal.
Yeah. Well, the most brutal one was the hikes.
Wow. Oh. They wear the fez. They're in a lot of parades and stuff.
I have not. Hats I would absolutely love.
It's fuzzy?
Well, no, like, it's made in the Fez district of Morocco in Africa.
Okay.
And apparently it's kind of akin to champagne. If you want real champagne, you got to get it from Champagne, France or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, there's obviously counterfeits there, but if you want a real authentic Fez, you have to go to Fez in Morocco. Okay. So it's kind of the same thing. Real authentic Fez, you have to go to Fez in Morocco. Okay. So it's kind of the same thing. Well, like, I saw one image pop up here, and I saw them. San Francisco was incorporated. The United States became a signatory to the Buenos Aires Copyright Treaty. Do you remember that treaty?
Do not.
I'm gonna look it up here really quick. I was that treaty.
Do not.
I'm gonna look it up here really quick. I was gonna do that anyway to refresh the viewers' memories and everything. If this loads up.
Yeah, that's the problem.
What is going on with our damn